More great Blue Jays talk and text coming up with Rob Wong back in our studios. And Rob, we had a pretty swift night. We didn't even get to say hello to you, so good evening for the first time at Baseball Control.
I would say that's generally a good sign that things are moving smoothly when you do not have to come to me mid-game, which means there are no pitching changes in the middle of a ball game, as Hyun-Jin Ryu tonight in his Rogers Center debut did not disappoint. It was worth the wait for Blue Jays fans who got the privilege to watch him tonight at the ballpark throw 7 innings of 2-run ball, 7 hits, no walks, a season-high 8 strikeouts as the Blue Jays pick up the 7-2 win over Cleveland this evening. Bouncing back and getting back to that 6-game over 500 mark that they've done now 4 times. They've never been 7 games over 500. Will they finally do it tomorrow evening? We'll have to see in about 24 hours' time. But right now, it is time for you, the listeners, to get us on the text line, 590-590. Give us your name and your location. We'll also take your tweets at WongSN590. We'll do that coming up momentarily. We'll hear some post-game audio as well, as we're with you until the bottom of the hour. But right now, we are pleased to be joined by Kevin Barker here on Jays Talk, brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. And Kevin, another masterful performance by Hyun-Jin Ryu tonight. Our buddy Chris Black over at Sportsnet tweeting out that Ryu over his last starts, a 1.84 ERA, 106 whip, 28 Ks, 4 walks, no homers allowed. Is it safe to say that he has found it and he is back to the way he was before?
Yeah, I think so. Tonight he was, he's a touch and feel guy. You could tell he was feeling it off his fingers. The first inning, 3 up, 3 down. He had the 2 Ks, the 13 pitches, the 7 strikes. Cleveland saw all 4 pitches. And then you add all the different sequences that he has. And then, the Jays line up there in the first inning, got jiggy with it, gave him the early lead. And the one thing that stood out to me that I don't know if you guys noticed, he's not aiming the ball tonight. He was coming right after him. And for me, that screams the ballpark. Buffalo, Dunedin, he was massaging his way through the game. Tonight, it looked like he was coming right after him. And for me and for Jays fans, he's going to need about 8 more starts just like that.
Yeah, he was really, really good tonight, and it was just nice for him to do it in front of the home fans for the first time in his Blue Jays career. So you mentioned the lineup there in the top of the first, really taking it to Zach Plesac, and geez, I wish that happened the game prior, because you would have thought against a guy like Eli Morgan, the Blue Jays would have been able to tee off early and often, but they do it the next night here against Zach Plesac. And here's George Springer. And, I mean, you've been banging the drum for George Springer in the leadoff spot, and for him to be doing what he's doing for a while. I think, we were joking for a bit there that, after the first 20 games, there were some people texting into this program, taking calls, people questioning, should the Blue Jays have gone out and signed George Springer? But there's a track record there, and we're seeing it now. I mean, he is all the way back to the guy that we've seen for many, many years with the Houston Astros. This is a guy that's won a World Series MVP. He's got 11 multi-hit games, Kevin. He's only played 37 games. So a third of the games this year, he's got 2 or more hits. It's pretty outrageous, how quickly, I guess, it has come for him considering all the time that he missed.
Yeah, you're saying it matters where you hit in the lineup. For me, it looks like he's found his mojo, and a lot of that's where he's hitting in the lineup. He comes up, he knows he's leading off, he can punch first. You see the 3-2 fastball that he got the head out. That's the things he kind of does. He punches first. It's when he's ready to hit. You're seeing the check swings that he has early in the game that'll tell you he's ready to hit. He's ready to fire his hands at the ball, tell you his timing's back, his front foot's hitting the ground. He's got that little time between when he's in an athletic position till he separates his hands. He's got that rubber band effect where he can throw his hands at the baseball. He's a table setter. He gets after the baseball to all parts of the field, and he can put up some numbers early, and that's what he did. You give your starting pitcher a little bit of a breather right out the gate when you punch first. You can see what it does for this entire team, and he just brings a ton of confidence. He brings that little bit of swag and saying, I'm going to bring it, and then we got a bunch of boys that's going to follow. 1 through 5 for me, this is, they're going to have to continue to do these things. Teoscar and George Springer are sort of the bookends. You say Teoscar tonight, he has his little timing too, where he has the little knee turn, the heel raise. He'll have the little where he starts his hands and his bat on his shoulder. He raises that up when all of that's on time, and you see him hit the fastball to right field. He'll hit the breaking ball. He hit the change up to left field. He hit the slider up the middle. That's when he's at his best. He lets the ball travel. He sees it a little longer. He's hitting it where it's pitched. Again, it's the bookends. You got those 2 guys doing their thing. Bo and Vladdy are going to do their thing. Marcus Semien, he can hit fastballs and do all the kinds of things he's doing. They're going to go where they go. Obviously, it starts with the starting pitching. But, man, you can't go wrong if 1 through 5 is doing their thing like they did tonight.
Yeah, and it also helps when you're getting production from 7, 8, 9 in this lineup, which hasn't always been the case. But tonight, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with a couple of hits, Breivik Valera with a hit and an RBI grounded, and then, of course, Reese McGuire with a couple of hits in the 9 spot. Kevin Barker joining us here on Jays Talk, brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Just Rob Wong with you here tonight, going solo. Blue Jays winning it 7-2 over Cleveland this evening. You know, the bullpen, of course, Kevin, has been bolstered with the additions earlier, and then, of course, heading into the trade deadline. But you look at the two guys that pitched tonight, Rafael Delis and Ryan Borucki. You know, early on in the year, these guys were relied on for some pretty big high-leverage spots. And now we're in a position here where, not that it was garbage time, but these guys are coming in a 5-run ball game, not exactly the highest leverage situations. I guess that shows how much stronger this pen is now compared to, back in May and parts of June.
Yeah, for me, Rafael Delis, this is probably where you're going to see him pitch. 5-run lead, you're either winning or you're losing by 5. That's probably when you're going to see him pitching. Borucki, this is good time for him to go out. Velocity looks like it's coming back a little bit more. Mechanics, you can see when the foot hits the ground, the ball's coming out of the glove at the right time. He's releasing the ball all at the same time. He's getting that good extension. You can hear him grunting now, which will tell you he's thinking more about where he wants to throw it than the injury he's coming back from. They need him. He can come in and get, a tough part of the lineup out, righties, lefties, with that slider, with that sinker. When the velocity's up, he's really tough to beat, and that just adds a different mix. You got a couple of lefties down there you can go to. You got a couple of righties you can go to. You got Jordan Morano at the end. Starts with good starting pitching. You hammer first. Look, they need 35 more wins to reach 90. It's always good to have some back end of the bullpen guys, some really good starting pitching, and some thumpers in the middle of that order to make a run at this thing.
Yeah, pretty good recipe tonight with the way it went down in Game 2 of this series. Kevin, as always, appreciate the time. Thanks for doing it.
Okay, have a good night, everybody.
There is Kevin Barker joining us here on Jays Talk, brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Rob Wong with you. Blue Jays bouncing back, 7-2 winners tonight over Cleveland. As the series will continue tomorrow evening, the Blue Jays will look to move 7 games over 500 for the first time this season with a victory. Let's take a quick look at the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, because that's what we're doing at this time of year. Check in on the standings. The Blue Jays coming into tonight's action 4 games out of a wild card spot, which was held down by the Oakland A's, who are in the second wild card position. Right now, they are trailing San Diego 1-0 in the top of the second. The Mariners, a game ahead of the Blue Jays right now in the standings. They are up 4-2 on the Tampa Bay Rays in the top of the 9th. Boston holding down that top spot in the wild card right now. They are trailing Detroit 4-2 in the top of the 8th. And last night, after getting embarrassed by the Orioles, the Yankees bounce back this evening big time as they pick up the 13-1 win. That's a 10-run differential that I gave the Yankees there. But 13-1 tonight, the Yankees are winners over the Baltimore Orioles. So that is the latest on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Once again, you can text us 59590. Give us your name and your location, your thoughts on the ball game tonight, as Hyun-Jin Ryu dazzles in his Rogers Center debut, throws 7 innings, gives up 2 earned runs, striking out a season-high 8 as the Blue Jays pick up the 7-2 win. We'll also hear from George Springer, who spoke with Sportsnet's Arash Madani following yet another multi-hit performance, another leadoff homer, his 41st ever leadoff homer. The guy is just built for that spot in the lineup and is delivering right now. So a big night for the 2 big offseason additions by the Blue Jays the last couple of years, Ryu and Springer, helping the Blue Jays pick up the 7-2 win tonight. It is Jays Talk, brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Rob Wong with you here on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Shout out to the faithful fan who knows the entire OK Blue Jays dance routine. Your family's not embarrassed at all, Dad. The Toronto Blue Jays play here. Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
Lesak deals the 3-2. And that's drilled out to deep left center field. Ramirez back on the run, turns around. It's gone! George Springer has done it again. The 41st time in his career with a leadoff home run.
Yeah, it didn't take long for the Blue Jays to get on the board tonight. George Springer once again with a leadoff homer, the 41st of his career, as part of a multi-hit game, his 11th of the season, Dude's only played 37 games so far this year after tonight. He's got 11 games where he's got 2 or more hits. He has found his mojos, found his groove as the Blue Jays win it tonight 7-2 over Cleveland. It is Jays Talk brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Rob Wong with you. As we'll get to your text coming up in just a moment. 590-590 is where you can always reach us. You can get us on Twitter as well, at WongSN590. Your thoughts on the ball game this evening. If you were at the game, would love to hear from you. Hyunjin Ryu making his Rogers Center debut tonight. Looked pretty lively. A lot of Ryu fans in the crowd tonight to watch him pitch for the first time as a Blue Jay in Toronto. A pretty special moment that I imagine he's been waiting a long time for since signing with the Blue Jays a couple of off seasons ago. But like I mentioned before, the 2 most recent big-time off-season additions, I guess outside of Marcus Semien, but at least the guys with term, Hyunjin Ryu, George Springer, coming up big tonight. And Springer with the solo homer as part of a multi-hit game tonight as the Blue Jays win it 7-2 over Cleveland. Let's hear from the Blue Jays center fielder. Here is George Springer.
George, you had the leadoff home run. The team just seemed to take off from there. But so much of this game was about the little things, too. The defensive plays and especially the base running. What are you seeing from a fundamental standpoint from this group right now?
I mean, that's what we need to win games. You know, the home runs are great. You know, obviously the RBIs are great. But, you know, to get an extra 90 feet, to get into scoring position for anybody is huge.
But with the sac fly there, it just seems the dugout responds to that. People being unselfish, doing all the little things that it takes.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that helps. You know, I mean, that's what it's going to take. Again, you know, to get to where we want to go as a team. I mean, you know, we got to get guys in from third with less than 2 outs. I mean, just keep adding on runs.
Where you want to go as a team. Now, 6 games above 500. You're taking care of business against the teams you have to take care of business against. Where is this team right now, George? I mean, Boston's coming up. The trade deadline's in the rearview mirror. There have been the upgrades. What's your state of the union on affairs right now?
That every game is huge. It doesn't matter who it is. You know, every game for us is important. So, you know, we got to go out every day and play hard. We have to do the little things, you know, and just compete our butts off.
Feels like you're heating up. Are you?
I'm just trying to hit the ball hard. You know, I'm trying to be productive. You know, it feels good to help the team.
I imagine it does for George Springer, who missed so much time at the beginning of the season, and here he is now playing like the guy the Blue Jays thought they were getting when they signed him to that massive 6-year contract. His OPS, his WRC plus, right around where it's been his entire career. The guy is a phenomenal player, one of the best in the game, and we are seeing it right now. And luckily for all of us, it's in a Blue Jays uniform as George Springer coming up big tonight as part of the 7-2 win. The Blue Jays bouncing back after their extra innings loss yesterday. They'll look to get over the 7-game over 500 mark tomorrow evening as Steven Matz will get the start in Game 3 of this series against J.C. Mejia. It'll go as usual, just after 7 o'clock right here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. But right now, let's get to the text line, 590-590. Give us your name and your location. Ryan in Pleasantville, Texan, says, I think Ryu heard us. Crown Robbie Ray's the ace. He is cruising lately. 2 aces on the staff. What do you guys think? And you look at this rotation right now with the addition of Jose Barrios, and you just feel so good about it. Alek Manoah, the way he has been pitching as well. You know, at the beginning of the season, what did we say? That the starting rotation, there were question marks. You know, you knew what you were going to get from Hyunjin Ryu, but what was Robbie Ray? You know, what was Steven Matz? Could you rely on a Nate Pearson? What was going to happen with, you know, Ross Stripling? Tanner Roark was in the rotation. Remember Tanner Roark? Felt like that was years ago, because it was Tanner Roark making starts for the Toronto Blue Jays. So you look at the way things stand now, where you feel pretty good about the top 4. And, you know, Ross Stripling getting the win on Friday night in the first game back in Toronto. I mean, he's turned his season around, of course, as well. So, you know, you feel pretty good about the 5. And, you know, occasionally Steven Matz will give you a good start as well. You feel pretty good about their, you know, current 6-man rotation that they're running out there. But to have Ryu and to have Robbie Ray pitching the way that they are right now is pretty darn good. Feel pretty good every time those guys are on the mound. And now with the addition of Jose Barrios, the starting rotation has become a strength for this Blue Jays ball club. Connor from Toronto, Texan says we got great performances from guys like Lourdes, Teo, and even a good inning from Dolis. It's a good win. Good to win a game comfortably when Vladdy goes hitless. Yeah, it's pretty rare that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to go 0 for 5, just the third time that's happened so far this year, and you score 7 runs, probably means it's going to be your night. Robert in Ajax says, with Kevin Biggio on the injured list, the Jays suddenly have a hole at third base. Do you see at all a possibility that the Blue Jays give Kevin Smith the shot this year? I've been banging the drum for Kevin Smith. I would love to get a look at this guy. He's been having a phenomenal season down in AAA. And, I figured, of course, with the roster movement that the Blue Jays, would have had to do, probably weren't going to be able to see Kevin Smith up, because if I remember correctly, I don't believe he's on the 40-man roster. So the Blue Jays would have to make a move there to add him to the 40-man, and he is currently not. So that's, part of it. We are past the trade deadline now, so, maybe that makes things a little bit easier. But, Breivik Valera getting a shot right now, deservedly so. I mean, he's not a name that jumps off the page by any means, but you look at the numbers that he was, putting down in AAA, not Kevin Smith numbers as far as the power goes, but this is a guy that makes contact. This is a guy that, can do a little something at the plate, sort of the Joe Panic mold, which isn't, the sexiest type of player out there. But it feels like we're going to see Kevin Smith maybe at some point this year. If he continues to go the way he's going, September call-up, maybe the Blue Jays just reward him for the season that he's had, because he's really turned around his career this season in AAA. Looks to be back to the way he was a few years ago when he was a 21-year-old in A-ball and turning heads, and people thought this could be the next, big-time infielder for the Blue Jays, and had a little bit of a setback, but this year has been really, really strong in AAA with Buffalo/Trenton. So I'm with you there on maybe seeing Kevin Smith at some point this year. JJ in Toronto says, nice to see Ryu in Toronto. Now let's go Padres. Always fun scoreboard watching this time of year. Yes, it is. Definitely is. Ron in Vancouver Island says, hi, guys. Would just love to hear an interview with Hazel May, me, and the home plate lady. He's a big fan of a home plate lady and Hazel as well. So I don't know about that, Ron, if we can get it set up for you. Maybe. I don't know. Might cost you a little something, but appreciate you chiming in on the text line. It's always interesting when the Blue Jays are winning, because you get a lot better texts, a lot more positivity, as opposed to when they're losing. And tonight, Blue Jays fans feeling pretty good after the 7-2 win over Cleveland. When we continue here on Jays Talk, we will wrap things up, get you set for Game 3 of this series. Oh, no break here. My apologies. We are not. We are going all the way to the bottom of the hour. So, geez, that would have been bad had I just stepped away for a little drink. But we will stay with you here. So let's talk about the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. And JJ was mentioning it before. San Diego Padres currently have 4-0 right now on the Oakland A's, so doing the Blue Jays a favor here in the bottom of the second inning. Elsewhere, Detroit up 4-2 on Boston. They're in the top of the ninth. Tigers looking to close that out. And this one was interesting as well. The Mariners, of course, they traded away Kendall Graveman for Abraham Toro, and he's been hitting like Barry Bonds. Another homer for the Canadian tonight, 9 on the season, went 2 for 4. And the closer that the Tampa Bay Rays traded away to the Mariners got the save tonight. Diego Castillo coming back to the Trop and had a scoreless ninth inning to beat his old team. So definitely an interesting storyline there as the Mariners continue to defy logic. That run differential is ugly, but they're still keeping pace here in the wild card hunt. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? I do not. And if they do, man, that would be incredibly frustrating for not only Blue Jays fans, but Oakland A's fans and New York Yankees fans, because this is a team that just continues to get by with smoke and mirrors. I don't know how they do it, but the Mariners picking up a win tonight over the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's go back to the text line, though. George from Hamilton says, attended tonight's game. Great to see the crowd back at Rogers Center. Great performance by Ryu and Springer. Robbie from Georgina says, I was at the game tonight. Springer looked the most confident and dominant player on the field. My question is, what do you think got him going? Was it returning to Rogers Center, batting first in the order, or was it just about time? I think it's a collection of different things. I mean, being healthy is right at the top of the list, because he was not healthy when he first came back with the quad. I think we all knew that, was, playing at around 80%. And now that he's healthy, back in the leadoff spot, getting enough reps. He's doing George Springer things. Like I said before, I thought it was crazy that 20 games into his Blue Jays career, I get it. He was banged up and there were question marks about, was this something that was going to linger all season long? I can understand that. But the fact that he got healthy and we see what he's doing right now shouldn't surprise anyone, because when he is healthy, he is, a top 15 player in all of Major League Baseball. That's why the Blue Jays went out there and signed him to the big bucks. This is the guy that they were looking to get. And it took some time for him to get healthy, get the reps, but now it is paying off, and it's at the perfect time where the Blue Jays are trying to make a charge down here in the second half, looking to make the wild card. And George Springer is worth all the monies right now with his performance, as he had yet another strong output this evening offensively, made a couple of nice catches in the outfield as well, as he goes 2 for 4 on the night, hits a leadoff homer in the bottom of the first, his 12th of the season, as the Blue Jays pick up the 7-2 win over Cleveland. They will look to keep it going as the series will continue tomorrow night. Steven Matz will get the start for the Blue Jays up against J.C. Mejia. You've been listening to Blue Jays Baseball, powered by Jack Links. Send hunger down to the minors. What a night it was for Hyun-Jin Ryu. Goes 7 strong, gives up 2 earned runs, picking up the win in his Rogers Center debut. Blue Jays looking to go 7 games over 500 with a win tomorrow night in Game 2 of this series. It's a 7 p.m. Eastern first pitch right here on the Sportsnet Radio Network. For Ben Wagner, Tom Young, Andrew Holland, Kyle Norris, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Jays Talk on the Sportsnet Radio Network.